Today on Northland Outdoors, the wide open flatlands of western Minnesota. Today it's one of the richest and most fertile stretches of farmland in North America. But there was a time when this was native prairie and home to the clever and kooky prairie chicken. Now, thanks to the efforts of many, the prairie chicken is on the comeback. We'll examine the plight of the prairie chicken, and we'll head to the north shore of Lake Superior to witness an annual migration like few others. That's all right now on Northland Outdoors. In the pre-dawn darkness of a western Minnesota spring morning, a curious gathering is taking shape. Curious and noisy. They call it booming, and it's part of an annual mating ritual that's been faithfully observed for centuries. The dance of the prairie chicken.
I consider prairie chickens as a great mascot for grassland conservation because they're resident birds, they live in this grass, they need this grass, and I think that prairie chickens are a wonderful way to show people why it is so important to protect grass.
Brian Winter is Program Director for the Nature Conservancy and the President of the Minnesota Prairie Chicken Society. What all that means is he loves grass.
Prairie chickens are a bird of the grass. I mean, you know, fish need water, prairie chickens need grass. It's really that simple. And without large grassland complexes like the Nature Conservancy's Blue Stem Prairie here, where we've got 6,000 acres in managed grassland for grassland birds and other rare species of animals, there wouldn't be prairie chickens. And so historically, when the whole region was grass, there were a lot of prairie chickens. And for a while, when settlement started to happen, prairie chickens actually responded positively and increased in numbers because then you had sort of the best of both worlds for a prairie chicken. You had lots of grass, but food can be a challenge in the winter. And when you started to have wheat and grains out there and the waste grain out in the fields, it gave them some big seeded food that they could get through the winters better with. So populations exploded even more. But we tipped the balance in the 40s to 50s where we converted too much of the grass to agriculture primarily, drained too many of the wetlands, and prairie chicken populations plummeted. It was in the 40s that the hunting season in Minnesota was actually closed. Most people probably thought that season was closed for good, given that we lost over 99% of our grass in the state. But thanks to really strong conservation efforts by groups like the Nature Conservancy, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Minnesota DNR, and some private landowners who are still ranchers and maintain good grass and have good prairie chicken populations. Male prairie chickens and female prairie chickens, if they're just sitting in a relaxed position, there really isn't that much difference. They look a lot alike. They have very good camouflage feather patterns that blend well in the grass. But where the difference really shines is when you get on the booming ground and the males start basically showing off for the females, trying to win the female's attention for mating. And then that's when the males erect their rabbit ears, which are technically called pinnae, these long feathers that rise on the top of their head. They inflate these large orange air sacs on the side of their neck, look like they've got oranges attached to them, drop their wings, stiffen up their tail, stomp their feet. And so they definitely then sort of display much more charisma, if you will, than the females, which just kind of come to the booming ground and hang out and are just kind of sitting there having a drink, watching the males and trying to decide who they like best. But the males are working really hard to get attention. What I'm always impressed with is, as we were sitting in this blind in the dark this morning, you could see the bright glow of Fargo Moorhead, just all the lights glowing only 20 miles to our west. And so we're so close to such a large metropolitan area, yet we have this ancient ritual of greater prairie chickens gathering on this booming ground, you know, doing their thing that they've been doing for hundreds of years before European settlers even arrived to this area. And they're still able to do that on this remnant prairie here, the Nature Conservancy's Bluestem Prairie. If you read some of the historic journals, they talk about the sky getting dark by the number of birds flushing, or that birds would flush up around a hunter and the ground would feel like it was vibrating, and hunters going out in a matter of a few hours and shooting 100 birds. There were no restricted bag limits at the time. And so that balance between a lot of grass but good food really did benefit prairie chickens very positively. What happened as, you know, we continued to develop the land and plow the grass is that it went too far, the balance went too far into agriculture, cropland, row crop agriculture, and not enough grass. And then we hit a tipping point where prairie chicken populations started to tumble. And, you know, if it hadn't been for really strong conservation programs that really started in the 1970s for prairie chickens, I'm confident to say that there wouldn't be greater prairie chickens left here in northwest Minnesota.
When Northland Outdoors returns, what does all this crazy jumping and strutting around actually mean? And later,
Get the birds, Emmer. Get them up. Get them.
the return of the prairie chicken means the return of the prairie chicken hunter.
There's something for everyone at Arneson's Rocky Point. We offer charter fishing and small boat fishing with the largest protected marina on the south shore of Lake of the Woods. Guests enjoy a variety of lodging options. Rock Harbor Lodge offers guests a quality dining experience along with spectacular views of the lake. Whether you're looking for a fishing paradise or a relaxing vacation, Arneson's Rocky Point has it all. Check out our fall specials running September 6th through October 31st, 20% off lodging and 15% off charter boats. Visit us at arnesons.com.
When a pair of Red Wing work boots leaves the store, they end up places. Upon a construction site by South Fargo, to climbing up a grain bin in Moorhead, within a warehouse in West Fargo, throughout the farmland of the Red River Valley, and across the oil fields of western North Dakota. But wherever they end up, they hold up comfort, reliability, and long-lasting quality. Red Wing Shoes, Main Avenue, Fargo.
Why hunt the Western Edge? Whether you're traveling west for your first hunt or you're a frequent visitor, Dickinson is the perfect place for your fall hunting getaway. Dickinson, North Dakota has many affordable lodging options, and the birds are waiting for you. You'll be dog-tired and limit-filled. Visit Dickinson and hunt the Western Edge. Go to visitdickinson.com or call us at 1-800-279-7391, and we'll help you plan your trip.
Before the dawn, before the decoys, before the call. It starts with a passion, and that passion starts at Runnings. The best gear and supplies from the most trusted brands in hunting. When you get the shot, will you be ready? Runnings, your home, farm, and outdoor store.
The Bluestem Prairie Scientific and Natural Area in western Minnesota is one of the few remaining native grasslands in the state. It's also home to a small but thriving population of native prairie chickens. And every spring, lovesick males and curious females gather daily to dance.
So they're constantly testing, trying to get to the center, trying to get closer to all them females, those guys on the edges. But they don't, see, if you watch this one right here, that's closest one kind of to us, he tries to sneak in. He's got that white, kind of a white mark right behind his orange sack where maybe a feather's been pulled out, so I know it's him. He's always right out here in front of us, but he tries to get in there by that GoPro, and then he gets pushed back, to this side of the GoPro. So there he goes up in there, now he's gonna get chased away. Chased away, chased away. Those two block him out. So there's kind of a territory line, the way it seemed, going right through the GoPro. So you got two dominant males that don't fight very much, but they know their line is there. And then you got this guy sneaking in, now he's gonna get chased out. So now he went the wrong way, so now it's gonna be chaos for a while until he gets chased. Okay, watch him, there, okay, he's right back where he belongs. Isn't that something? So if you didn't know that's what was going on, you wouldn't figure it out, but that's what's going on. That's what all that chaos is they're just, everybody's got their spot. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. You have to be there or it doesn't work. We've had people from just about every state now, Alaska and California. We have people from other foreign countries. This week we've got some folks coming in from actual China that want an opportunity to see and photograph these birds. And so this is a known sort of one of those iconic things you have to do if you like outdoor photography, if you like birding, is you have to sit in a blind on a prairie chicken booming ground, and it's a show like none other. And so it's an opportunity that we are really happy to provide for free to the public, the opportunity to come out here to the Blue Stem Prairie and watch these birds during the spring. Look at that one going crazy. He didn't know which, look at, he's just running in circles out there. It's a young one that doesn't know what he's doing. Look at him. He's got the stupidest display going. I think he's been eating some fermented berries. What the Nature Conservancy and Minnesota Prairie Chicken Society are doing is, one of the key things that we need to do is work with willing landowners in protection programs. And that can be, if they're willing sellers, we can buy that land to permanently protect it as grassland. There are what are called conservation easements that a number of different agencies and organizations have, where the land stays in private ownership, but the landowner can get paid a fair rate to make a commitment long-term, permanently, generally, to keep it in grass. And so to really preserve and keep prairie chickens on the landscape, the first thing is you have to protect the grass. So private landowners and the Nature Conservancy, the Prairie Chicken Society, and other agencies like Minnesota DNR and Fish and Wildlife Service have active land management strategies, one of which is prairie chickens are birds of the grass, not the trees or forests. So we're right on the kind of transition between forest and grassland here. And so without things like prescribed fire or prescribed grazing or haying, brush and trees can really grow up into the grassland. When it becomes too wooded, prairie chickens leave. They don't live in that forest habitat. So a lot of our management is driven to keep the grass healthy, keep the landscape open, and keep prairie chickens happy.
When we come back, the return of the prairie chicken means the return of the prairie chicken hunter. Stay tuned.
Thief River Falls, Minnesota has over 2 million acres of public hunting land for bear, deer, ducks, ruffed and sharp-tailed grouse. With a growing Canada goose population, Thief River Falls is an untapped bonanza for waterfowl hunters. With the ideal mix of forest and prairie, Thief River Falls is the prime area for any kind of hunting in the state. Visit Thief River Falls and experience it all.
Everything you need for your home, farm, and the great outdoors is all under one roof at your local running store. Running sells the top brands of hunting, fishing, and archery equipment you need to land the big one, and premium pet food and supplies. Count on Runnings for quality and selection at a fair price, plus hometown friendly sales associates to help you find what you need. Runnings, your home, farm, and outdoor store.
I'm Amy Enra. We're working on something extra just for you. The news at 9, weeknights on WDAY's Extra. It's the latest addition to our expanding news coverage. Your money, your health, stories that focus on you. Fast-paced, interactive, local weather, social media. Your free time, your family time, your fun time. Something extra from your news leader. The news at 9, weeknights on WDAY's Extra.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? AGWEEK magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. AGWEEK provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted, AGWEEK. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
Why hunt the Western Edge? Whether you're traveling west for your first hunt or you're a frequent visitor, Dickinson is the perfect place for your fall hunting getaway. Dickinson, North Dakota has many affordable lodging options, and the birds are waiting for you. You'll be dog-tired and limit-filled. Visit Dickinson and hunt the Western Edge. Go to visitdickinson.com or call us at 1-800-279-7391, and we'll help you plan your trip.
Welcome back to Northland Outdoors. We're on the prairie lands of western Minnesota, where Brett Amundsen joins Brian Winter for a wing shooting opportunity that had been missing for 60 years.
So how does one hunt prairie chickens, Brian?
Well, I mean, I suspect a lot of people hunt them differently. I'll tell you how I hunt them and how some of the other methods are. I really like to hunt with a dog, so I definitely pursue all my upland game birds with a dog. And most people are probably more familiar with hunting pheasants, and typically pheasant hunters will move towards the heavier cover, the cattail drainage, the cattail slough, and or they'll even hunt a lot of strip cover, like a road ditch or a shelter belt or that type of thing. When it comes to hunting prairie chickens, you really want to get out of that mindset and think lighter cover and bigger, open, intact grasslands, because that's the habitat that those birds survive in, live in, and that's where you're going to find them.
Good girl, Emperor. You're excited, aren't you? So am I.
Let's do this.
To hunt birds today, you need to have a permit. They issue about 100 to 125 permits annually. Each person that gets a license is allowed to take 2 birds, and it's a 9-day season. And the season is split up into permit blocks. In the state today, it's great that we have a huntable population again, but it's still a very small and vulnerable population to additional habitat loss. I'd estimate that we have in the neighborhood of 5,000 prairie chickens in the state.
Good dog. Good dog. Come on. Right here. Good girl. Good dog.
So this is a greater prairie chicken up close that we were just able to harvest out of a really nice piece of native grassland. And you can see right away how camouflaged this bird is with the heavy barring across the entire bird, including the chest. I've spent my whole career conserving habitat, working very hard to make sure that they're in great shape from a stewardship standpoint to have prairie chickens on the land. Spend a lot of time organizing opportunities for people to view these birds on booming grounds, get them into blinds so they can get up close and personal in the spring of the year and see these birds, see how special they are. And so when the opportunity to hunt them, I was excited because it was another opportunity to enjoy what I love, which is the outdoors and prairie chickens, but taking that bird was pretty thrilling, at the same time emotional, because here I'm now holding this beautiful bird, but it's going to be great table fare too. And so you balance, as a hunter, you balance that in your mind that you need both.
The entire prairie chicken story is a blue ribbon example of what conservationists, landowners, and hunters can do when they work together. From the near elimination of both native prairie and prairie chickens to the successful return of both the grasslands and the birds. It's something everyone should be proud of here in our Northland outdoors. When we come back, we head for the north shore of Lake Superior to a place called Hawk Ridge that, in the fall, is definitely for the birds.
Why hunt the Western Edge? Whether you're traveling west for your first hunt or you're a frequent visitor, Dickinson is the perfect place for your fall hunting getaway. Dickinson, North Dakota has many affordable lodging options, and the birds are waiting for you. You'll be dog-tired and limit-filled. Visit Dickinson and hunt the Western Edge. Go to visitdickinson.com or call us at 1-800-279-7391 and we'll help you plan your trip.
Before the dawn, before the decoys, before the call, it starts with a passion, and that passion starts at Runnings. The best gear and supplies from the most trusted brands in hunting. When you get the shot, will you be ready? Runnings, your home, farm, and outdoor store.
Thief River Falls, Minnesota has over 2 million acres of public hunting land for bear, deer, ducks, ruffed and sharp-tailed grouse. With a growing Canada goose population, Thief River Falls is an untapped bonanza for waterfowl hunters. With the ideal mix of forest and prairie, Thief River Falls is the prime area for any kind of hunting in the state. Visit Thief River Falls and experience it all.
When a pair of Red Wing work boots leaves the store, they end up places. Upon a construction site by South Fargo, to climbing up a grain bin in Moorhead, within a warehouse in West Fargo, throughout the farmland of the Red River Valley, and across the oil fields of western North Dakota. But wherever they end up, they hold up comfort, reliability, and long-lasting quality. Red Wing Shoes, Main Avenue, Fargo.
It's a sun-soaked September morning on the north shore of Lake Superior, and high on a hill known as Hawk Ridge, just north of the city of Duluth, there's much more than just a touch of fall in the air.
And adult bald eagle on the topples.
Yeah, they're right over the school now.
Nice push of American robins over us.
Welcome to the Hawk Ridge Nature Reserve and the Hawk Ridge Bird Observatory, a unique location that, due to several reasons, is a super highway of fall bird migration.
The geography of the North Shore, it really is a great way to push birds through. So we have the big cold body of water in which cold air will sink over that. And so the birds, they would have to use a lot more energy to actually fly over the lake. And then all along the shore of Lake Superior, we have this wonderful ridge line in which warm air gets pushed up against that ridge line. It creates these thermals, and the birds are able to utilize these thermals. And so that's one of the neatest things that we get to witness here at Hawk Ridge, is when we get to see these large kettles of birds. And sometimes we might have, you know, hundreds to thousands of birds moving through.
Basically what we do is every day start at sunrise and count all the migrants that are coming down the lake shore. Right now it's switching over to more raptors, and earlier we had our biggest flight of the year for warblers and non-raptors. We had over 7,000 warblers fly by, mostly yellow rump warblers, Tennessee warblers, palm warblers. Still quite a few yellow rumps actually jumping through right now.
Sharp shin just to the right of the owl above that bush. We're going to get a flat flap glide, very typical of an accipiter, small, long tail, short broad wings.
While Hawk Ridge is a gathering spot for all migratory birds, it's the raptors, hawks and falcons in particular, that are the stars of the show.
So we've got a very nice contrast here. On the juvenile bird you can see bright yellow eye. On the full adult, we've got orange going towards red. That's a full mature bird.
Hawk Ridge isn't just about counting birds. The observatory also has an aggressive banding program to identify and hopefully gather important information about the habits of these long-distance travelers.
Things like how long they live, how far do they go, how long does it take them to get from point A to point B. You know, there's all kinds of things that we can figure out from the process of banding. The black-polled warbler is an amazing story. These are birds that are coming all the way, some of them from as far as Alaska, flying southeast until they hit the Atlantic Ocean. When they hit the Atlantic Ocean, by that time they've doubled their body weight. For them, that's about 10 to 11 grams of fat. They've put the fuel in the tank because they're going to fly across the Atlantic 2,500 to 3,000 miles, 24 hours straight through, the equivalent of a marathon runner going 4 miles an hour for 24 hours straight, all on the energy that's found in about half a Snickers bar.
So a couple of those sharp shins now are right above the trailer. Watch for that shimmer. Watch when they turn in the sun, you'll get that little shimmer. September and October are our peak months for the hawk migration and passerine migration, and we're already up to probably 60,000 hawks already. On average, we get about 75,000. It could be more, it could be less, but we're on track to certainly break that 75,000 that we generally get. It's a really great place to see this mass migration, not just of one species, but of many species, and it's going on right above your head. So I do encourage people to come up and see it and bring your children. It's a wonderful thing to see.
One of the greatest aspects of nature is the unknown. When in the wild, it seems, there are surprises around every corner. Over 75,000 hawks and hundreds of thousands of songbirds soaring over the hills north of Duluth every fall. Who knew? But it's been happening for centuries, and it's just another example of the magic that is available for all of us to witness in our Northland outdoors.